Referrals often have the highest ROI of any lead generation technique. They're often the most resilient as well. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can generate more referrals to win more leads for less money. First thing is your proposition statement. You need to get that nailed before you undertake any type of referral. You need the person doing the referring to be able to relay what it is you do so effectively in about 10-20 seconds, like we did in the proposition statement. Now, you're not going to sit them down and teach them that, but they're going to get it through osmosis by working with you. The most obvious and fairly common is paid referrals. So really simple. You just give away part of the revenue or profit in relation to a referral. I've seen these be huge. Like one of my old clients had one for £50,000 and it didn't work because it seemed too good to be true. And I've seen them be far too low. £100 of Amazon vouchers, nobody really cares about in most sectors. You're going to want to bake this in to the cost of sale if you're doing paid referrals. So you've really got to think about what is your average deal size and what would it cost you normally to get a lead. You can usually calculate how many cold calls you're going to do, how many LinkedIn outbound, how many speaking events you'll need to do, and you'll be able to define a value for the amount it costs you to get a lead. Say it's £300. Well, then really, if it's all those other channels, you might pay more than that for a referral because it's just so much less work. So you might pay double, you might pay 600, but it's all really defined and anchored on the amount of revenue and profit on your average deal size. So think about that before you state your amount for a paid referral. So expanded network. So people often think that referrals will only come from those that they've worked with in the past, and it is the most common place that it comes from. But think about it one step further out than that. Venues you go to, other areas, other people within your ecosystem. Who else is going to come across your ICP? How can you work with them? What could you do for them, for instance? So one of the ways in which I get referrals at Growth Venture Group is working with other people or other organizations and companies that provide services to founders of services businesses doing over 500K. We always start with a growth diagnostic workshop. That's worth about £2,500. Now, I might go and do one of those workshops with a referral partner. Because then they'll sort of fully understand what it is I get and the value that I'll bring to a potential customer or a customer of theirs. But then they get something from it as well. Now, I won't pay them for the referrals after that, but it's just a way in which you can do it so that they get something, they fully understand your business better, and then we'll be happy to pass you on, especially if I've not worked directly with that person before. New client value uplift. So what I mean here is when you've just onboarded a new client, sometimes you can do this in negotiation, depending on what it is. So I did it once where somebody asked for a discount, and I said, it's absolutely fine. I'll give you the 12% discount if you refer me to 3 other people before we sign the contract. Other times you can do new client value uplift is when a client asks for something. So you're already mid-project, you're already mid-implementation, they want something else. Okay. Look, that isn't actually within the scope, but I like you, there's some other potential work here. Look, if you refer us to 2 other people, then I'll get that piece of work done. So referrals can be used as sort of a really a good leverage tool, basically, when you're working with existing and potentially new clients. Referral campaigns. Now, these can be run usually when you've got at least 500 ex-clients. But you can run a referral campaign. So you haven't spoke to these people in a while. You could even run it from a newsletter. So you give away some piece of value. It might be a workshop, it might be cash, it could be anything, something determined on the potential deal value that you might get back from it. And then you would basically run a campaign, and this campaign can be cold called, emailed, whatever it might be, into existing or ex-clients, offering something in return for a referral. So there's just a few simple techniques you can use there to drive referrals into your business. There's no point doing any lead generation if you don't have a really good sales process that those leads fall into. So in the next video, I'm going to take you through a really simple sales process that I've used to generate tens of millions of pounds in sales. It's going to really help you stop those deals dropping out as they move through the pipeline.